And today I'm going to be letting you know how to get the most out of your RealtyNinja website. So Sylvia, if you're here with me, if you can just type a little message into the chat window there, just to let me know that you can hear my voice, and we'll get started once you've checked in, since there is just you and I here. Okay, perfect. We do have a handful of other people registered for today's webinar, but whether or not they show up, that's up to them. As long as you're here, we can go through and keep it kind of intimate. As we're going through, feel free to ask questions using that chat window, and I can answer them on the spot for you and kind of pause the webinar as we go. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about how to get the most out of your RealtyNinja website, how to optimize it and use it to capture more traffic and convert more of that traffic into leads. So before we get into the optimization tactics, I'm just going to do a little bit of an intro and talk about some of the rules that we've learned over the years of building real estate websites. Then we'll talk about on-site optimization, which is things that you can do on your website to optimize it, and then off-site optimization tactics, which is things you can do elsewhere on the internet to attract more traffic to your website. We'll finish by talking about some of our resources to continue your real estate marketing training. And then there is a modern marketing Q&A at the end, but since it's just you and me, we can just do that Q&A as we go through the chat. Feel free to take notes as you're going through, or just sit back and watch because you will receive a copy of these slides at the end of the webinar. So once it's done, you'll be forwarded to a page where you can click and download the slides, as well as open up a whole bunch of other kind of useful links. So give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a high five. The fact that you're using a mostly automated real estate website platform to power your online brand puts you ahead of the average agent. Believe it or not, it's 2021 and more than half of agents still don't have their own online presence. A lot of them are relying on social media or their brokerage website that they got for free, but they don't have a brand at their own domain. And the ones that do, of them, I browse a lot of real estate agent websites. So many of them are really outdated and don't really function with the best practices of today's website environment. And so, you're well ahead of the average agent, but this is not a webinar about being average. It's about getting the most out of your site. So let's get into it. Just to preface the whole webinar, something to keep in mind is that these days we live in an interesting time. We live in what's called an attention economy. So everyone is fighting for attention online, whether it's your friend and their Instagram account or other local businesses or even Netflix, okay? They're all trying to capture your attention. That's what makes them money. Okay. And so attention is really the new digital currency. You want people to look at you and engage with you and your brand online. But knowing that there's so many people out there currently, trying to get some of that attention, it really kind of frames things in your mind a little bit differently when you're thinking about what should I do as a real estate agent to kind of stand out and to attract people's attention to my little corner of the web, right? What am I going to do? How am I going to provide value and borrow some of these people's attention and hopefully turn it into a commission check? So what does it take to make your website truly ninja? So RealtyNinjas have been in business for 10 years. We've been building real estate agent websites that entire time. And before that, for about 6 years, we were building websites for various different industries under a different business name. And what we've learned in those 16 years is that the most successful websites follow two simple rules. Rule number one, don't be generic. Generic marketing is forgettable, and being generic essentially means not targeting any specific types of people, any target audience, right? And so if you're being generic, you're just kind of trying to capture any kind of lead out there instead of being focused, on one type of demographic, one type of target market. Now, if you have a smaller target market, maybe it's two different target markets, but really focusing your attention on that group or those, few groups is going to be pivotal in your success with your real estate website. So rule number one, don't be generic, pick a target audience, essentially. Rule number two, create real value for your target audience. So once you've done rule number one and you know that target audience, now you need to create value for them. Again, we're living in an attention economy. You need to capture their attention. And the only way you're going to do that is by providing them value. A lot of people may think that this is my website, it needs to provide me value, and it will, only if you provide others value through it as well. Okay, so it's all about your visitor. It's not all about you. If you make your website all about your visitor, then you will get, it'll pay dividends for you as well. So again, rule number one, don't be generic, pick a target audience. Rule number two, create value for that target audience to attract them to your website. So huge opportunities online these days. I mean, everybody can set up a website fairly quickly and fairly inexpensively. Everybody can get on social media, build a YouTube channel and put videos up there for free. And so this gives you an opportunity to engage with thousands of your ideal clients online pretty inexpensively. Okay. You have your own brand that can exist entirely online, and you can build connections with people online without having to go door knocking and shaking hands and kissing babies and all that, old school stuff. So using modern marketing, you have the ability, whether you're a new agent, you have the ability to compete with seasoned veterans, or if you're a seasoned veteran, you have an ability to kind of enhance that brand that you've already built for yourself offline into the online realm. And real estate agents really are kind of public figures, right? Every time I drive through my community or go for a walk, I see your faces on bus shelter ads. I see you guys sponsoring events in the community. I see you, on pinup boards in the grocery store and on bike racks, in parking lots and stuff like that. So your face is everywhere. Your brand is everywhere. You're kind of this, you're this local celebrity, and you have the ability through your website and through your social media and other online mediums to kind of become the digital mayor of your area by connecting with all of your, quote unquote constituents, essentially your target audience, through offline and then also through online. So you can extend that local celebrity status to the online world as well. Two important questions to ask yourself, regardless of what phase or process you're in terms of creating your website, whether you already have a website, you've had one for 10 years, or you're just a new agent starting out. At any point in time, it's good to stop and ask yourself these questions and let the answers guide your website design and development. So question number one, who is the website for? Again, this goes back to that not being generic point, all right? So this is how to take that, don't be generic, and actually phrase it as a question that's going to help you make actionable items. So who's the website for? Who are my ideal customers? Who are the people that have the least friction and that are the easiest to work with for me, and that I want to attract more types of clients of? Who are the ones that are happiest with me and love what I have to offer? I want more of those people. So once you figure out who those people are, then every decision that you're making on your website should be targeted to those people, whether it's copywriting, creating call to actions, creating pages, creating landing pages, or even writing your About Me profile. It's all directed towards that specific group, okay? Question number two to ask yourself is, what do I want these visitors to do on my website? So once you've got them on your website, now what is the next step, okay? So think about your funnel. Okay, your marketing funnel. At the top, you're attracting people to your website. Once they're on your website, they're at the very top of your funnel. Now, what do you want them to do so they filter down your funnel and come out as a lead? What are those steps that they have to take? What is that process? Once you know that process, then you need to make that process clear on your website. So if it's to check out, listings in a certain community, then that needs to be a primary call to action. If it's to read your blog, then that also needs to be a primary call to action. Whatever it is, know the process, know the steps that you want these people to take when they get to your website, and outline that for them. Because most people are not, we don't have really deep attention spans. Most people are not going to sit there and go through every single page of your website. Most of them are just going to want to be told where is, important for me to go. And they want to see if you are, you have what they're looking for. So if you know you have what they're looking for and you put it up front, they're more likely to click it and move through your funnel. Okay. So ask yourself always, who's the website for and what do I want them to do on my website? A truly ninja real estate website should do a lot of things. Okay. Here's a list of some of the things that it should do. I'm not the type that's going to sit here and read through an entire list on a slideshow. You can read for yourself, but I do want to highlight a few of them that I think are really, really important. So the first one I like to highlight is creating trust. Okay. Your website, when people are looking at your website, essentially what they're looking at is a piece of glass, okay? They're looking at their phone or their laptop or their computer. They're looking at glass, okay? So how do you build trust through that glass? How do you break that digital barrier and actually connect with people. You know as well as I do, trust is so important in real estate. People are doing these huge transactions and they want to know that you have their best interests at heart, and that you know what you're doing and that you're confident in your style of doing business. So how do you bring that forward and show that they can trust you through your website? Well, lots of things. Your about me tells them a lot about who you are. Your testimonials, your awards that you've won over the years, your sold listings, these are huge, right? So all kinds of things, that basically credibility badges that you can put throughout your website, will help build that trust. Another cool thing that'll build trust is video, okay? Video is now a streaming medium, so I can hit play and watch a video without having to wait for it to load, right? So when you put a video of yourself on your website, people can click play and just look you in the eyes and listen to your voice and kind of connect with you on a deeper level than they can through text. All right. So, that's another great way to build trust. But essentially what you want to try and do through your website is to connect with people and make them feel like they can trust you so they can pick up the phone and be confident in that phone call. Another thing your website should really focus on is representing you 24/7. That's one thing that your website does do, but what you want to focus on is to make sure that it represents your brand properly, because it is representing you 24/7. Even while you're sleeping, some of your customers might be browsing, they might be a nurse and they might be working until 7 a.m. and they might be searching at 7 a.m. or they might work until 7 p.m. and they might be searching at, midnight online. And so they're not going to pick up the phone and call you, but this is their first impression of you and your business and your brand. So you want to make sure your website is, representing you properly. Okay. Think of your website as an employee of your business. It's an employee that works around the clock. Now, if that employee represents your brand well, great. You're going to be really happy with them and they're going to be doing, good work for you and producing good results. But if they're not representing your brand, you might need to have a sit-down conversation with them. You might need to reprimand them or even fire them, right? And hire somebody else. So if your website is not representing you like an employee should for your business, maybe it's time to take a look at it through that lens and make some changes. And the big, most important one is that your website should provide value to your target audience. Remember what we talked about in that slide earlier. It's your website, but it's not all about you. It's all about them. It's all about the visitors. So try and always think of ways that you can provide value to your target audience through your website, okay? So before we get into on-site optimization tactics, a little analogy that we've used for years at RealtyNinja: your website is a tool. It's just like this sweet Lamborghini, okay? It can win races, okay? It's powerful, it's sleek, it's got all the horsepower and torque and all the capability to win races that you need. But without a driver, it's not going to win any races. It's going to just sit there, okay, on your driveway or in your parking lot. And so you want to make sure that you treat your website the same way that you would a race car. Without someone to race it, it's not going to win races. A website without someone to use it and to drive it, it's not actually going to generate any leads or generate any traffic. Keep that in mind. Your website is a tool and it needs someone to actually use it. So with that said, let's get into on-site optimization tactics. So these are things that you can do on and around your own website to attract more traffic and drum up more interest in your brand. The first one, and arguably the most important, is blogging, content, and resources. Okay. So when you publish content on your blog or on your website and you create resources for your visitors, you're providing them value, and that value will attract them to your website through what's called inbound marketing. Okay. So inbound marketing is essentially when people are searching something online and they find it on your website. They find a link to it, right, through search engines. And then they click that link and arrive at your website. They arrive inbound onto your website. So any content that you create has the potential to attract people to your website. That is inbound marketing. The more blog posts you have, the more content you have, the more resources you're offering, the more the likelihood that you're going to attract people to your website. All right. So constantly publishing blog posts is one of the best ways to drum up traffic ever on your website. Okay. Because you can't keep creating home pages and tons of new pages on your website, but the blog gives you an opportunity to write articles and share insights and share news and information and ideas and tips and all kinds of great stuff that your target audience will enjoy and is probably searching for. So when you write that kind of content, you attract those kind of visitors that you're looking for, and then they go through to your website. RealtyNinja has a blog that we publish content on regularly, at least a couple times a month, with like long form, awesome resources for our target audience. And those visitors are the ones who make up the majority of our actual websites browsing. So they might arrive through a blog post, but then they actually go to realtyninja.com and check out our offering and see what we have. Okay, so that's the same for real estate agents. It's essentially the same for any industry. Now, when you're creating blog articles or any kind of resource or page or content, put it through this filter, HUNN, okay? I didn't invent this. This is something that psychologically people find interesting and that attracts people, okay? Is your content helpful? Is it unique? Is it novel? Or is it new, okay? HUNN. These four things, if your content that you're creating is not one of these four things, then you probably shouldn't waste your time creating it, okay? If it's one or more of them, fantastic. Let's move forward with that, okay? Just regurgitating market statistics through your blog, it's not new information. It's not unique information. Sure, it's helpful, but it's also found elsewhere, right? What would be really good twist on that is putting your thoughts on what this data means and giving people a little synopsis in your own words of what these market insights are. All of a sudden, it is unique, it is novel because it's your voice and your ideas. It is helpful and it is new. Okay, so you can take content that doesn't match any of these criteria and actually repurpose it so that it matches maybe even all of them. All right. And when you're creating this content, use mixed media. The more kinds of media that you use, the more chances you're going to be discovered. If you post images in your blog post, you might be discovered on Google image search. If you're creating a YouTube video and embedding that in your blog post, you might also be discovered on Google's video tab search. Okay, so the more types of content you what's the word I'm looking for? You add to your landing pages or your blog posts or any pages of your website, the higher the chance that you're going to attract traffic. Implement is the word I was going to look for. I was trying to use not add, but implement, but same difference. Just an example of one of our customers' blogs. They do a blog post. They embed a video into it. Okay, so essentially what they've done is created a video blog where they're filming a video, they're embedding the video in there, and then they're giving a bit of a synopsis on what is included in that video in writing. So now this blog post is going to show up in Google's regular search, and it's also going to show up in YouTube and in Google's video tab search. Okay, so really maximizing your chance of being discovered. All right, next on-site optimization tactic is unique descriptions on your listings and on your MLS pages. So one really big search engine optimization tactic is producing unique content. Unique content is the only thing that gets rewarded by search engines. If you're creating content that exists elsewhere, like duplicate content that you're basically copy pasting from Wikipedia, for example, search engines are going to know that. They're not going to reward you because they're going to know the original source of that is Wikipedia. And you essentially plagiarized that information onto your own website. Okay, so you will not get any rewards for that. Now, the crazy thing about listing data and like the listings that show up on your website is that those are all duplicate content. So the listing is added to MLS. So its main source is your board's website. Okay. So like realtor.com, for example, is the main source of that listing data. Then it gets sent out through a data feed to thousands of agent websites, okay, all in your community or your board. Now, that is all just a duplicate version of the original listing that you uploaded to MLS. The listing might belong to you, but search engines don't know that. They just know that it belongs to whoever, wherever it was published first. So when you're creating listing pages, you're not getting rewarded by search engines. If you have a listing page that has some information about the community at the top of it, now you've created a unique page that contains information about a community and shows listings in that community. So that is now a page that's going to be discovered on search engines, okay? So if you're creating, let's say, I live in Vancouver, so let's say I'm creating a Yaletown condos page. Okay, at the top of the page, I might include a little blurb of information about Yaletown and include some links to some of my favorite restaurants there, and put a social media feed that shows all of the hashtag Yaletown pictures and posts. Okay, all of a sudden I've created a kind of a community page that includes photos, information, some feeds, and some cool engaging stuff, but then it also contains listings. And so that is how you create a page that that actually attracts search engines to your listing page. All right. Now, another thing is customizing your own listings. So on your RealtyNinja site, when you own a listing, so when you've uploaded it to MLS and the agent ID matches your agent ID on your RealtyNinja website, you can actually edit your listing. Okay, so a listing that's one of your active listings or featured listings or whatever, you can go into the site and modify it and add a custom description. Okay, so the description you added on MLS and the description you have of this listing on your website are different, which means your website has a unique version of your listing compared to the thousands of other websites out there that have the same listing on it. Now that listing is going to start ranking higher than all the other duplicates out there. Okay, so a cool little hack here to make the listing unique on your own website and make it have a fighting chance to stand out on search engines. Just a quick example of a great community page that's actually a listings page. So this website here for Princeton, BC, we've got a nice video. We've got a little intro blurb about the community, a weather widget, some of the local shops and stores, restaurants and coffee houses, lots of nice photos. Okay, so all this kind of great community information. Then at the bottom of the page, here are the listings. Okay, so this page does really, really well on search engines. Search engines love a page like this because it's full of great original content about a community. And not only search engines love it, but people love it, right? It contains all the information you'll ever need to know about Princeton, BC. Okay, but it also has listings. So you are going to attract thousands of visitors a month to a page like this. And of those thousands, maybe 10 or 20 of them actually go click listings, and maybe 5 of them or 3 of them become a lead. All right. Those are way better odds than attracting 2 people a month to a page because it's just got listings on it. All right. You have to work way harder and, be really, really lucky to turn 2 of those people, 1 of them, into a lead or a paying customer versus 1,000. So next on-site optimization tactic, keywords and alt tags. And again, Sylvia, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to type them in. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that pop up. But if I'm answering all your questions as I go, that's fantastic too. So proper keywords and alt tags. So keywords are everything on your website. All the text on your website is a keyword. I used to, when I started working with websites, keywords were things that were these words that were tucked in the code of your website's HTML, and they were called meta keywords. Okay, and search engines would look at your meta keywords to understand what your website was about. Those days are gone. Okay, search engines are very intelligent. They can read your website at a 7th grade comprehension level, and they can understand what your website's about by actually crawling every word of your site and reading through it. Okay, so you want to make sure your keywords are present and prominent. And so, early on in this webinar, we talked about identifying your target market. Well, part of identifying your target market is knowing what they're looking for. All right, and knowing what they're searching for on search engines, and then putting those keywords that they're searching for throughout your website so that they can find you. All right. Now, alt tags are keywords for your images. So even your images can have keywords associated with them. So in your RealtyNinja site, I'll show you on the next slide how to actually add them. But essentially, what that does by adding keywords to your images, it allows your website to be discovered in Google image search as well. One caveat is don't be sneaky. Don't try and trick search engines by stuffing your keyword everywhere and having it not make sense, right? Like I said, they can actually read your site at a 7th grade level, and it's really tough to trick a 7th grader by stuffing a bunch of words throughout and trying to brainwash them. What you actually want to do is write for humans, okay? Write like you would for humans, include your keywords in there, but write like you're talking to your target audience, and search engines will reward you for that. So this is just an example of adding an alt tag, so keyword for your image. to an image. When you're in edit mode on your RealtyNinja site and you scroll over a photo, the little gear icon appears in the top corner. And if you click that gear icon, it'll open up this box. And this box allows you to add your alt tag, your alternate text, okay? And so search engines don't know that this is a photo of Katie Burkhardt, the Vancouver real estate professional, okay? But just by adding this text, I've included keywords like my name, my area that I serve, and my profession, all right? So if anybody's searching anything like this, this image is gonna show up on Google image search. All right, next on-site optimization tactic is your bio and testimonials. One thing I see so often is that real estate agent websites don't actually have a populated about us or about me page, okay? It's, I often go to those pages and it says this information is coming soon, or this page is under construction, or whatever. This is such a big miss, because those pages are oftentimes what people are coming to your website to check out, right? So they want to see who Sylvia Schmidt is. They want to get to know you, in your own words, and find out if you're the right fit for them, if your personality matches the personality that they're looking for, and so make sure on your website, your About Me page or your bio page or whatever is populated, okay? Really, really important. You don't know how much money you're leaving on the table by leaving this page blank. So please go and add that. And use mixed media here too, not just to show up on Google image search, but going back to building trust and breaking through the digital barrier, using mixed media on your About Me page is going to let people connect with you deeper. Like I mentioned with video, even photo does a great job, right? Make sure you show photos of yourself, doing the things you love, and, not just like the professional corporate headshot, but, like a lifestyle photo of yourself. Just some fun photos, maybe with your dog, maybe with your family, maybe, going fishing or whatever it is that you like to do. People can connect with that and see you as a real human, and not just like this professional through the screen, right? If you're doing a video, which I highly recommend, turn your phone sideways, film a selfie, and just say, "Hi, I'm Sylvia. This is why I got into real estate. This is what the kind of clients I love working for. This is, what makes me different. This is my background, my experience. I've won these awards, and I can't wait to work with you." It'll take you 30 seconds, and that video will go much, much further than, a bunch of, written paragraphs about yourself. And don't forget about your testimonials too. I mean, Google is a great place to collect testimonials because, the more Google reviews you have, the higher your chance of ranking when people are searching for a real estate agent in your area. But then copy and paste those reviews onto your website as well. Okay. Word of mouth is huge. It will always be huge. It's one of the best ways to kind of market yourself. So take those testimonials and put them everywhere. Share them on your Instagram. We do that. We post our Google reviews on our Instagram story. We want people to know that we're the kind of company that is trustworthy, and here's what other people have to say about us. So our reviews are all over the place. So do that as well. All right, next on-site optimization tactic, the final one for on-site, is call to actions. So if you'll remember earlier on in the webinar, I talked about those 2 questions to ask yourself. Who do I want to visit my website, and what do I want them to do when they get there? So call to actions address that second question. What do I want them to do when they get there? Okay. You need to direct your visitors to where you want them to go. You need to put clear call to actions throughout your website that give people that next step in your funnel, right? Tell them where's the most important places to go, and they will go there. They're much more likely to go there than by digging through your entire website menu. So know your audience and direct your audience to the things that they want to see. And one big no-no is making browse the MLS your main call to action on your website. Having an MLS search is great, but people aren't coming to your website just to browse the MLS, a generic MLS, okay? If you know your target audience and you know that they want to buy luxury condos in Yaletown, then make the main call to action view luxury Yaletown condos. Don't make it browse MLS search, because then they got to go to the MLS, they got to put in the condos, they got to put in, the community and the price range and all that kind of stuff. Make it easy for them. Give them, a call to action that actually speaks to them. Okay. So when certain people arrive on your website, they're like, wow, this website was made for me, right? And they feel more connected to you that way. All right. Moving on to offsite optimization tactics. Okay. Things you can do all around the web to kind of attract traffic to your website. So just to preface this, let's talk about SEO in a nutshell, okay? So SEO is search engine optimization. It's optimizing your website to be discovered on search engines. There's a lot of things that you can do for SEO. There's a lot of SEO signals, they're called, that will help kind of poise you to be discovered, on the first page and in the first few results on Google, which is essentially where you want to be, the first 5 results. But one of the really important things is to make sure that the messaging is consistent across all of your channels. So everything that your brand does online it tells search engines a story about you and your business. Okay. So if you're on your website, you're targeting first-time home buyers, and on your Instagram, you're talking about empty nesters, and on your Pinterest, you're talking about new families buying a home, and on your YouTube, you're talking about for sale by owner kind of stuff, right? That's like 4 different target audiences. You're not being cohesive. You're not telling a cohesive story about your brand to search engines or to people for that matter. But really what you want is to tell the same story everywhere. Everywhere that you exist online, the message should be consistent. Your tagline should be there. Your brand name should be consistent. All of it should be consistent so that search engines can, when they crawl your brand, they know, okay, this is what Sylvia Schmidt is all about. We know exactly what she's about, and we are going to show her to the right people. Okay. And search engines are always improving their algorithms. They're always getting better. Their product is to give people the best results, best search results, right? So if you're searching on Google every single day, they're getting better at giving you good results, the results you're looking for. Usually when I search something, I don't even have to scroll down. My answer is right there at the top of the screen. Okay. So that's how good Google's getting, and they're always getting better. So you want to make sure your message is consistent everywhere. You're always saying the same thing so that you're likely to show up at the very top. So with that said, let's talk about first off-site optimization tactic, which is optimizing your bio on your brokerage site and other directories online. So one of the SEO signals I was talking about is backlinks, and this is arguably the most important SEO signal that there is. Backlinks tell search engines that you have authority online, okay? That you're a reputable brand, a reputable voice in whatever your niche or industry is, okay? And a backlink is essentially when anybody else on the internet links back to your website. So you want to get as many backlinks as you possibly can. But not only that, you want to get high quality backlinks. So for instance, a backlink from the local plumber who gets 50 visitors to their website every month is not going to be worth as much as getting a backlink from a blog that has 1 million visitors a month. Okay. So the more visitors and the higher the reputation of the website that's linking back to you, the better that is for your reputation. Okay. That being said, get the link from the plumber and get the link from the blog. Get as many backlinks as you possibly can to your website and track that. And you can use a tool called Ahrefs. I'm going to link that in the chat there. Ahrefs.com has a free backlink checker. And so you can go to ahrefs.com, put your website in and see who links back to you, what types of people, and go after more of that. Okay. And if you don't have a lot of backlinks, that's okay. Don't be worried. Just get started on this tactic because it's a really important one. A couple ways to get some backlinks. First one is really easy and it's kind of just a hack. Google search yourself. Okay. Whatever results show up for your brand, open them in new tabs, go to those tabs and get your website on those links. So whether it's your Facebook page or your Instagram that shows up, or your YouTube channel, or if you're on a networking site like Alignable or Clubhouse or something like that, go and log into those accounts and add your website. Those are all backlinks. Okay. Now, the other one would be like a little bit more difficult ones would be writing guest blog posts. So if there's a big blog in your community or in your city, and they write tons of articles and they publish tons of articles all the time, you want to write a guest blog post for them. And I guarantee you they will accept it if you just reach out and say, hey, I want to do a free editorial for you. So what you do is you write that article, and in that article, you link back to your own website. So when they publish that article, and 99% of the time they'll say yes and they will publish it. But when they do, you will get that backlink from that website. Okay, so that's a great way to go about it. Then there's other things like using sourcebottle.com, for example, or Haro, which is Help a Reporter Out. Those two allow you to become a source for the media. And so whenever the media needs a quote for an article that they're writing, they will put that into SourceBottle or Haro, and you can subscribe and receive emails whenever somebody is looking for a quote about real estate. And so you can always provide these quotes to people about real estate, and they will publish your quote, and they will publish your name, and they will link back to your website. So that's a great way to, over time, really, it's a battle of attrition, but over time you will amass a ton of backlinks that way as well. And then another one is just to ask, right? Ask all the people that you work with. Create a partners page on your website and just say, hey, I'm adding all links to all my partners and all my friends on my website. Can you do the same? Can you add a link to my site from yours or from your, blog post or whatever? So, lots of different tactics, but just keep in mind backlinks are super, super important. So next, on offsite optimization tactic, social media publishing and engagement. So I've worked in marketing ever since social media really started to boom and become a marketing tool, and a lot has changed over the years. I mean, I remember back then you became a fan of a Facebook page. You didn't like the page. You would send your tweets via a text message. There was no Twitter app. There was no Instagram at all. Everything was way different back then, and a lot has evolved and will continue to evolve and change over the years. But the two foundational elements of social media will always remain true, because these are the two things that make social media social media. One of them is publishing. The other one is engagement. Okay. Without the engagement side, we're just talking about media. We're not talking about social media. Okay. So news networks publish, right? They don't engage. They just put things out on the news. But social media is where you can publish stuff, but you can also engage with stuff, and people can engage with your stuff. Now, as a real estate agent, you want people to engage with your content, right? You want to post stuff and you want people to engage with it. You want them to like it, click it, watch it, share it, right? All that kind of stuff it falls under the umbrella of engagement. And so you want that. But what I see a lot is that real estate agents don't engage themselves. They don't engage with other brands or other people in their community. They just publish. Okay. So over time, when you just publish and you don't engage and you're not actually part of the conversation, you're just talking at people, your engagement's going to go down. That's just natural. It's just going to happen because you're not engaging as well. You need to do this 50-50. You need to post things, but you also need to go out and browse hashtags and like people's posts and comment on people's posts and really engage with your potential target audience, right? So if you're in Vancouver, you search hashtag Vancouver, and all those people that are posting are potential home buyers, right? They are all potential people that could be your customers or your clients, long-term clients, right? So go out there and like their photo, comment on their photos, create a relationship with them, follow them. That's when you like someone's picture or you comment on their picture, they get a notification, and that notification is a dopamine rush to their brain, right? That's just what it is. It's like a drug. And so if you are responsible for that dopamine rush, they're going to love you. And if you're responsible for that dopamine rush over and over and over again, they're just going to be infatuated with you. That's what's going to get them to come back and engage with your content. Watch your stories, like your stuff, comment on your stuff. So you really need to partake in both these sides of things. But if you only have time to partake in one, I would say just do the engagement, okay? Because the publishing is not going to help you very much if you're not engaging, but the engaging will help you a ton if you're not publishing, all right? You just create an account. You don't need to post anything. Just go out there and comment on people's stuff and make friends, right? That's how you're going to build your business up through social media. And always keep in mind to direct traffic to your website. So this goes back to having the backlinks. So like if you're on your Instagram profile, you want to make sure you're linking to your website. On your Facebook, you want to make sure you're linking to your website. So if anybody goes to your social media, they get directed back to your website, because that's where you're going to get the most SEO benefit. Okay. All right. And last offsite optimization tactic before we start wrapping up here is paid traffic versus organic traffic. So What are these two? So organic traffic is anybody who arrives at your website without you physically spending money on advertising to get them there. Okay. So we talked about inbound marketing earlier, like creating blog posts to attract people to your website. That's organic traffic. Anybody who just finds your website, whether it's by typing it in because they saw it on your business card or by clicking a link of yours that they found on search engines and arriving on your website, that's organic traffic. Now, paid traffic is when you create a Google ad to send people to your website, or a Facebook ad, or a Twitter ad, or a LinkedIn ad to send people to your website. That is paid traffic. You're putting $50, $100, $1,000 into sending people to your website. That's paid versus organic, okay? Now, organic traffic is a great test case to find good content to boost with money, to turn into paid traffic. So let's say you create a blog post like, best parks in Yaletown, okay? Or top 5 parks in Yaletown. And you post that on your Facebook page. And all of a sudden, 20 people are liking it and commenting on it and sharing their own feedback and thoughts. And some people are disagreeing with you, and other people are, having heated discussions in there with each other about what the best parks are for their dogs and all that stuff. And you're like, holy cow, I have 20 comments, 20 likes, and 5 people have shared this post. That post is a really good candidate to boost with $100 of advertising. Get some paid traffic on that post because people organically just care about it, okay? The mistake that I see all the time is that realtors are just putting an ad of their face. It's just like a picture of their face, and it says like Medallion Club winner, top Remax agent or whatever, and they're putting that as a Facebook ad. Well, nobody cares about that, okay? First of all, nobody's going to click that because I don't know, what the point is in that. Where do I go when I click that? Do I know where I'm going to arrive at as my next step? Or is it going to be a virus that shows up on my computer? They have no idea what it is. Second of all, if that was just a Facebook post, nobody's going to click that. That would not amass any organic traffic. It's just not interesting. It's not helpful, unique, novel, or new. It's not those 4 things, HUNN. So nobody's going to click on that anyway. So why waste money advertising it, right? So that's a big mistake where in some cases you're going to waste money. In other cases, you're going to have an ad up there for a month that has spent $0 of your budget because nobody has actually clicked it. So what you want to do is promote with money content that is actually good, that people actually care about, that is valuable to your target audience, okay? So, and also just to touch on another thing I just mentioned is people need to know where they're going to go when they click your ad. If it's a picture of your face and, a list of your awards, I don't know where that's going to take me if I click it. But if it's a link that says the top 5 blog posts in the Yaletown area, I know that when I click that, I'm going to go to a page that shows me those top 5 parks, okay, in Yaletown. So make sure you know that journey too, is like when you create an ad, it needs to be clear where that ad's going to take me, or else people probably won't click it. All right. Just a quick example of an ad that this ad would be great for in the community. All right. This would be a great billboard, lift it up, put it up in, 100 feet in the sky and, in downtown Vancouver, and people will see it and they'll get to know Linda's name and they'll see this, kind of quirky got realtor tagline or whatever. And over time, they're just going to get to know Linda. She's going to become like a local celebrity in their mind. But this ad on Facebook or on Google is not going to do anything. People are not going to know what happens when they click this ad. They don't know why they would click it. They don't just need to click and go to a random realtor's page. Or who knows where it's going to go, their Facebook page or their Twitter or whatever. So this is not an ad that would be effective online, but it is an ad that would be effective, on a bus shelter or on a billboard. All right. So my point is offline advertising and online advertising are very different. Don't waste your money on creating online ads that are basically offline ads. And that's it. And with all that said, the last thing to leave you with is consistency. Consistency is the key in all of this, okay? Everything we talked about today, if you just try and, do it today and then forget about it for the rest of the time you're in business, it's not going to serve you, Okay, it's not going to help you. You need to get backlinks over time. You need to create blog posts over time. You need to, make sure you're writing copy that has keywords in it all the time. This is something you need to do on a regular basis, not just, you do it once and then you hope that it makes your business boom. No, it's consistent. It's consistent effort that's going to make the difference. The good news is your competition is not going to be doing it. The majority of your competition are not doing this stuff long term. They dabble in it, but they don't stick it out for the long game. So if you do, you will be in the 1% of agents who are kind of dominating that online marketing. We produce, not only do we produce great content for agents, but we drink our own Kool-Aid. So all this kind of stuff that I've been telling you in this webinar, we do it ourselves. We produce content to attract visitors to our blog. We produce resources that provide value to our target audience. These are all things that make our target audience fall in love with us and then eventually want to work with us when they need a new website. Okay. So, to that end, we've tested this stuff and it actually works. And you can look it up online. I'm not inventing this stuff. This is all just modern marketing best practices that we've been talking about. But on another note, please do go and download some of our freebies on our downloads page. Please do check out the blog and subscribe to it so you get regular updates when we publish a new article. We won't spam you with a bunch of junk. You'll get an email, a few times a month with a useful article that might help you out or something. But this is a great way to kind of continue your success with online marketing and continue your modern marketing education. So that's all I have for you today. I'm sorry I went 2 minutes over time, but thanks for sticking with me, Sylvia. I haven't seen any questions come up throughout this whole time, but if you do have any, now would be great. But if not, I can go ahead and end the event and you will be forwarded to a page where you can download these slides and go over them at another time. So, okay, I don't see you type in, Sylvia, so I'm going to go ahead and end the event. And if you just hang out for a second, you'll be forwarded to that page. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you have an awesome day and weekend.